So on this video, I'm going to be talking about what you should be looking for if you are looking for a budget gaming computer in the 350 or so price range. So the first thing to talk about here is that when you're looking at pre-owned hardware, there is no such thing as a standard deal. Okay, this is why you'll see a lot of YouTubers will make videos where they'll go and find the worst priced hardware they can, and they'll mock, oh, this person's crazy. They're trying to rip people off. Now that may be true, but you will always find a rather substantial variance in what people are valuing their hardware at. Um, I have a few theories on why that's the case, but that's not really what this video is about, so we're not going to talk about that right now. But because of that, you're going to see a wide range of different prices. But this is kind of a framework for what you should be looking for. So now I have done some videos about the impending end of Windows 10 with the support ending. My opinion is, and I could be wrong on this, Microsoft could change their mind on 11. There's a bunch of different things that could happen. But my opinion on the matter is you probably have, if you're looking at older hardware that doesn't support 11, you probably have at least a solid year or year and a half-ish of use before it starts to become a pain in the butt and they start making it difficult to where at the very least you have to use workarounds and hacks and things like that to make it work if you want to use 11, or to the point where Windows 10 starts requiring different hacks and software workarounds and just things that you have to do that you wouldn't otherwise have to do if it wasn't out of support. So you're going to largely be looking at that level of hardware if you're looking in the, say, 3 to 350 range. So what I recommend at this point is I would steer towards many high core count. I would steer towards high core count. I would steer towards DDR4. And you're going to want something that has M.2. M.2 is a good indicator of how modern it is. If it's got M.2, it's reasonably modern. M.2, I believe you first started seeing them on Haswell, or maybe it was like the Devil's Canyon Refresh or something like that. It would have been the boards that would have correspondingly been sold alongside the i7 4790K when it was new. But I'm not recommend 4790K. If that's what you end up with, it's good hardware. But I'm actually recommending X99. So X99 is now readily available with 8-core CPUs. So I actually have one on hand right now. So the i7 5960X is an 8-core 3 gigahertz CPU. The numbers I have seen would put it somewhere in the neighborhood of the 8700K. Even though it's got more cores, it appears to be somewhere in the neighborhood of the 8700K. It's got a ton of PCIe channels, lanes, so it would be particularly good for a budget workstation in addition to gaming. Because it's got the support for a ton of devices, and you can find boards that have 5, 6, 7 PCIe slots, which is really nice. I have something like that, but in a slightly newer X299 platform. And then you're looking for something along the lines of a GTX 1080 video card. And then you're going to want somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 to 32 gigs of RAM. I find that in the market today, most people, at least from what I have seen, seem to have upgraded the systems to 32 gigs of RAM from the 16 that they originally had. So one of the advantages of X99, and that's i7. You're going to see them really often with 5820Ks, 5930Ks, 6800Ks or X or whatever they called those. 5960X is kind of the chip I like to shoot for because it's highly devalued, but it's also an 8-core hyper-threaded, so it's a good, heavily devalued chip. So the reason why I recommend X99, among other things, is that X99 is really capable. It has a very modern set of features. DDR4, M.2, a ton of PCIe, high core count CPUs, but it's also really old. So you're talking about hardware, again, dating back 10 years. So it's very capable, but very old hardware. And in my opinion, the advantage that that gives you is you have way more of the, this is just the old computer that's been sitting in my garage for 5 years and I need it gone factor. You're not going to get that with so much with, say, like a 10th gen i9 or something, because for the most part, except for people that just have way more money than us normies who just constantly buy new stuff and just forget about what they buy. Other than those people, the longer time that you can put between you and when the hardware is new, I find that generally speaking, that is where you're going to get the best deals. And then what comes into play is, okay, I've found a good deal on the hardware. Is the hardware actually good enough for my purpose? And that's where X99 comes in, having the modern set of features. So it's kind of, yeah, it's like the Goldilocks zone, right? It's not too hot, not too cold, and it's dramatically devalued. So that's what you really want to be looking for. And I mean, like I said, different markets, outside the US, man, I can only speak for the US market. I cannot speak if you're in, I don't know, Nigeria, if you're in, I don't know, Poland. I can't speak to your market. I really can't. So I'm sorry if this advice isn't valid where you are. This is mostly valid advice in the US. And then, so pairing X99, you also pair it with a GTX 1080. Now, my opinion on the GTX 1080 is that it is the, what I would call baseline experience, okay? Now, you can get a faster card that's a heck of a card. You can get a slower card that's a heck of a card. But I believe that the GTX 1080 is kind of the entry level of the modern gaming experience. I can't really, I don't have the data to really say, okay, it compares this well or that well. I don't usually do data related stuff. there's so many channels doing that. I don't feel I have anything of value to contribute in that space. But a 1080 is a card that's going to provide you a playable experience, a 1080p, in some cases, some older games even 4K, but realistically, it's a thoroughly capable 1080p experience on a high core count X99. And if you look in the right place, these builds can be had. I mean, I bought an X99 with a 2070 in it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago. For, I think I paid $300 for that build. And then I think another 2 years ago, I picked up an X99 with a Star Wars Edition Titan XP in it, also for $300, and that had a ton of accessories. That had like, I don't know, had like $600 worth of peripherals with it, like actually $600 worth of peripherals. So there are a ton of deals to be had out there. You just have to know what you're looking for. So anyway, though, I hope you guys find this interesting, and I hope this helps inform someone if you're looking in this price range. I'll probably, if these are popular, I'll do different price ranges, but this was my kind of my recommendation for the 3 to 350. You may find this hardware for less. You will definitely find it for more. You will find people trying to get 700 to 900 plus out of this hardware. Don't buy it. It's not a good deal at those prices. It's a good deal for a complete system at 3 to 350. So anyway, I hope you find this advice useful, and thanks for watching the video.